following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hi, this is Ken Gidge, and this is Us Democrats. It means exactly that, us as in Democrats. This is a new show starting here at XS Nashua. This is about our second show. Us Democrats means that, Democrats, and we have a Democrat here who is running for State Representative from Ward 8. Please introduce yourself. And the reason why I'm asking you to introduce yourself.
My name is Latha Mangipudi, and it's very simple. It's very phonetic. It's a different name, yes, but if you can say latte, you can say Latha. And I've been in Nashua since 1989. I moved here when my daughter was less than a year old, and I've been married to my husband, Krishna, for 28 years, and our son was born here. And so we made this home, Nashua, our home, since '89. And we used to live in Ward 8, and 13 years ago moved to Ward 9. And 2 years ago, when the redistricting happened, we were back in Ward 8. So it was wonderful for me.
Well, good. Now, here in the city of Nashua, what have you been doing? What do you do?
I am a speech pathologist by training. I have also been very involved in school. My kids, when they went to Bicentennial Elementary School, I've volunteered since day one. And then I served as a PTO president at Bicentennial School, and then went on to serve on the Nashua School Board when the crucial transition of building 2 high schools and transitioning from 7-period to block scheduling, lots of changes. And I served on the school board when it was the busiest and most challenging times, but very exciting because the opportunity, I could see the changes that was happening for the better. Education is the basics cornerstone of a community. I came with my master's from India and a first-generation immigrant, and education is what got me settled in a whole different country and a culture. So I firmly believe in a strong basic education, which nobody can take away from us. And so both my kids grew up here, a product of Nashua Public Schools. Now they are young, working citizens, and I'm proud of that. And Nashua has served us very well. And I've also worked as a speech pathologist. I've worked with early intervention, special needs. I worked in Nashua Center for the Multiply Handicapped for over 22 years, advocating for people with special needs, and then working with the elderly. I started a program called Classic In-Home Care at the Nashua Center, and this was to help seniors live in their community with dignity and quality of life. So I believe in good education, good healthcare system, and a wonderful, vibrant community that I call proudly my home. So, and politics is not a spectator sports in my book. You have to participate by voting. If you're really passionate about your community and cause, run for an office. So I have never shied away from running for any office or getting involved and being active. So I've supported Democratic Party. We have hosted presidential, primary during the primaries, hosted presidential candidates at our house. We have had debate as recently as the last election. We had a healthcare panel, small business panel, and we have hosted events for Democratic parties for summer fundraising barbecue, Young Dems barbecue for 3 years in a row. So I've been very active, and my family is very supportive. And my kids said, "Mom, you've been talking about, bringing your viewpoint or getting involved at the state level. Time is right. do it now.
Well, the question is, you really have, obviously, the background here in the city of Nashua. What makes you think you can do well up at the state? Now, are you familiar at all with state politics, meaning how the workings of the state government?
I am. I know it's the third largest body in the world, UK, US Congress, and New Hampshire House of Reps. And I know it's a large body, but I've also found, serving on the school board, and that you have to be at the policy-making table, discussion. Even if you're not able to bring a bill to pass, but at least have a candid discussion. Bring a different point of view, coming from a different culture, coming from a different background, being a first generation, democracy at work. I'm excited with that. If we cannot participate in a democratic process and influence our everyday life, I want to be the voice for the constituents, because I've always been a strong advocate for children, education, health care, fairness, transparency of process. So,
if you had something that you truly believed in, but it would go against your constituency, would you vote for it?
I have a way of bringing people together, and also it's not what you say, it's how you say it. I have I called a couple of my friends and said, how would you introduce me to somebody that don't know me? They said, you are a problem solver, you are a consensus builder, you're a community bringing, networking together. So those are three things I'm committed, dedicated. So I will go back to the constituents and say why I'm voting the way I'm voting. If they have any other suggestions, I've always asked for input from that. Even when I was on school board, I would say, come to the public meetings. If you have ideas, let's have the dialogue in the open. Let's share that idea together. So I will convince or try to convince my constituents why I'm voting.
What in the city of Nashua do you think is very important that cannot be done here in Nashua that needs state help? What is the most important thing, or several of them?
Education and community-based healthcare. Healthcare, I see a lot of elderly that need that one stitch in time kind of thing. That, it's not about Medicaid, Medicare. It's about bringing the community resources together. There are so many fragmented resources. We have to be able to bring it together. And we owe it to our community.
So that's what you see here in the city of Nashua. So
it's very vibrant.
Statewide, that's what you believe?
Yes, can be done. Can be done.
Give me one more thing.
Rail, economic vibrancy, and demographics. It's a changing demographics. And I've lived in Nashua for over 23 years. And I have seen changes. For example, in 1990, there were 350 Indian Americans in Nashua. By 2000, there were 3,500. Today, there's over 4,000. Just one small minority community, but all high-tech or, doctors. We are in the community. We have to represent. This is our home. So I want to be the face of what Nashua is.
Well, you are a Democrat. This is called Us Democrats. I am also a Democrat. And I think if you take a look at, and it's sad to say, if you take a look at the Democratic side when you go to the House, you can stand before it. You take a look at the Democrats, you take a look at the Republicans, and I truly believe that there is more diversity with the Democrats. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Mm-hmm. Have you, Republicans, how do you get along with the Republicans here in this city? I mean, you have debates on some of the things that you've seen?
I do. I have, one of the GOP reps used to live in my neighborhood. And, we used to have very cordial conversations. And I would tell Pam Price, this is the issue. Let's have a dialogue. I would have conversations. And being an adult, engaging in a productive conversation. And even on the school board, the dialogue was important. I could debate with you, but walk out of the door, the debate ends in that meeting. So I'm not the person that criticizing, but we have to engage in that productive dialogue. You have to work like that. You
Yes.
have to work across the aisle and try to convince and engage them.
Well,
It's tough. It's challenging. And I'll give you another example. I'm in the community, and there are a lot of seniors. And, you know, New Hampshire being New Hampshire, 98% white. And I always put up my hand. Some of them would say, I don't want any person of color coming to help me in my home. And I would put up my hand and say, is this color okay? But you have to break the ice. And, you know, and I have faced a lot of those challenges. And I tend to keep my cool, being able to joke it.
well,
Break through the ice.
you may do well up there. As you know, your opponent is Carl Andre, who's been in national politics for a long time. You've met him. What do you think of Carl Andre?
Very professional, very nice person, and he does have experience, and he brings a certain value to the table, and I bring my value, which is the current situation where the demographics, and I've been involved in the more recent past in terms of education, and so this is my qualities that I bring to the table, and I leave it up to the constituents to make the decision who would represent or who would do well representing their voice. And I ask for everybody. My biggest challenge in the primary that I am really trying to get over is the turnout, voter turnout. Like, again, I want to emphasize, politics is not a spectator sport. You have to go participate. If you want to bring about any changes or influence any changes, you have to participate by voting. And if you're passionate about it, run for the office.
I think that people have to understand how important that is. I ran for alderman here in Ward 6, the ward that I'm in, and it was a beautiful day, and it was like 70 degrees, and the sun was out. Only 630 people came out. I knew I was going to win. If more than 630 showed up, because I lost by 30. But to say, my point is, and I think you make the good point, and Carl has made it the same point, is that 630 or 1,000 people are not enough. No.
When you think about what blew my mind when I got the registered voter list from City Hall, there are 5,730 registered voters in Ward 8. Out of which 1,700 are Democrats, 2,500 are undecided, and 1,500 Republicans. And when I said, oh, I'm going to knock on, try and get every door, they said, primary, people who voted in primary, 256. That was shocking. This is a democracy at work.
And especially this, because people have to understand that it's statewide. We have a small majority up in Concord, and we need another Democrat up there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's important. People have to exercise their civic rights.
I know Carl Andre would, but would you, if Carl Andre happened to win this primary, would you help Carl? Would you introduce him to a few people that you know?
I'm running to win it, and I would, I'm focusing my effort on September 17th, and I think I have a very good chance of winning and, facing my opponent, GOP opponent, in November 5th. But definitely, if that the places change, I would be happy to support Carl if he wins the primary.
Who are you running against? If you win, the Republican would be who?
Pete Silva, the Republican who's running, and I think I have a very good chance. I have a good name recognition with a name like Mangipudi. How many Mangipudis are there in Nashua? My kids would always joke about, Mom, with the last name, with our name, we cannot get away with anything. Everybody knows who we are.
Mangipudi, I mean, yeah, I would imagine. You have seen or you have watched politics. How is Pete Silva to you done up in Concord?
You know, I have been watching very closely. I've been active in politics by supporting Democrats, Democratic events. And few things that really made my decision easy was the education, how they slashed the education budget, and also all the health care in terms of Medicaid and other programs for handicap, seniors, and most vulnerable population. And the biggest thing that stays in my mind is when one rep made a comment about people with mental illness, mental retardation should be shipped to Siberia. This is 21st century, and we are in the most advanced country, richest country in the world, and an elected official making a statement churned my stomach.
Well, that was not Pete Silva.
No, that was not Pete
Okay.
Silva.
Okay.
Yeah, that was not Pete Silva. But education budget cuts, voting for that, and cutting Medicaid programs, programs for vulnerable population. Just what made Nashua a unique community, a supportive, vibrant community. All those support system were taken away one by one. And that didn't sit well with me.
Well, the Republicans were up there with 297. I was one of the 103. And I can tell you that nobody really should have a supermajority, because when you have that supermajority, you really don't listen to anyone and you do dumb things. But I think after the last election, where they had a supermajority, now only a minority, it's very important that us Democrats, that's us and you out there, make sure that we do get out there and we do work for it.
Absolutely. So you tell me, you are a state rep. How is it? Is there a dialogue happening at the table? Is there a good exchange of conversation about issues and problem solving? And I really like the way our governor is trying to get solutions to some basic problems. And the other thing that encourages me, or I'm motivated, is our governor has she's a mother, she has a son with special needs, and understands that education and basic necessity for somebody with special challenges.
We literally have 60 seconds. What would you like to say, and maybe a telephone number, or?
I would like to say out to voters, please get out to vote on September 17th. That's the primary. And there are 5,000 and odd registered voters. And we should get at least 3,000 out there, more than 50%. Prove the predictors wrong and get out to vote and make your voices heard.
And your name is?
My name is Latha Mangipudi. I would like you to try saying my name.
I will not. She is a speech person. I will get some assistance. Well, okay, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me, and this has been a wonderful evening, and this is a great service that City of Nashua offers to their citizens. This is a public access, right?
Okay, this is Ken Gidge, and this has been Us Democrats, and we'll see you next time.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.